Nicodemus here. I want to speak on distinctions. Why are they useful and important, and how they can change your life?
Yeah. Actually, for me, distinctions, and I really learned about what a distinction is. It's obviously it's a term used even in the Course. Jesus says in the Course, let me make the distinction for you that you can't make for yourself. Where I really understood distinctions, what they are and how they're powerful, is becoming a trainer. That was the body of work, that transformational trainings, that especially how I learned them, and the mentors that I had were some of the original trainers. And if you've ever studied things like Landmark, Werner Erhard, the S training, Life Spring, the gratitude training that I've done for many years, was a director at Gratitude. Now doing the trainings in different places. And what is a distinction? So what a distinction is, really simply, is taking something, let's call it an S, and separating it or having it stand out from everything else. So if you think about it within our own mind and our own consciousness, think of it like the background of these infinite possibilities that exist. And then I bring it into the foreground, and now it's tangible. It stands on its own. I could see it. It's workable. I could use it in my life. So I'll give you an example of this. The distinction for car, right? We all know, I get in the car. I mean, we take it for such granted, all these things that we do every day. And if you didn't make distinctions, when you and I look out at life, all you would see is blank. Like, we see things. I know that this is the distinction for book. I know this is a distinction for computer. We see things because of distinctions. So where it became really powerful for me is a lot of understanding these distinctions bring a power to our life. For instance, I'll give you another example. If you don't have the distinction of forgiveness, let's say, and someone hurts you, and then you go into conflict with this person, and let's say the conflict lasts 10 years of your life, 20 years. I mean, this happens all the time for people. I've had family members, people who haven't talked to each other, people I know 10, 20 years. You don't have the distinctions for forgiveness, acceptance, letting go of the past. You're now locked into that. So just that one distinction of, well, what is forgiveness, right? Let's go further into that. Of course, Miracles makes a distinction that the way that the world does forgiveness is, you did this to me and I'm above you, and I'll give you like a shabby form of pardon. Like, I'm here, and you who hurt me, you're down here. So if I forgive you, I stay up here. You stay down here, and I grant you my pardon. That's not forgiveness. Actually, the Course calls that forgiveness to destroy. That's like war dressed up as forgiveness. Conflict, specialness, me above you, dressed up as forgiveness. You see, if I don't make that distinction, forgiveness looks like, yeah, I forgave them. Or, yeah, we don't talk, I forgave them. Or if I don't make those subtle distinctions, I lose power in the situation. The Course, the training, India, a lot of the teachings of the masters, all of these things that we read on is really distinctions. So the question for you becomes, and for me, is what distinctions do we get to make in our life? The distinctions around, let's say, abundance, distinctions of how do I make and double my business, let's say, take it to another level, distinctions of relationship, making requests, communicating effectively. All these distinctions are really important to learn, and in that learning we can start to apply them. If you think about whether it's, let's say, A Course in Miracles or even the trainings that I do, it's really like a mind retraining. Well, what's a mind retraining? You're learning these distinctions, then you're doing lessons and you're practicing the distinctions daily. You're looking out for the distinctions in your life. Like when I do not just Course in Miracles lessons, when I do the training, it's almost as if I could see it show up in my life. Like, let's say I have a lesson today, and the lesson is on people that annoy me. I don't know, just something like that. Now that I start to make that distinction, studying the lesson, I could see areas of my life that, oh, it shows up right there. Oh, it shows up over there. Oh, I see it over there. So like a rubber band, when it expands, it never goes back to where it was. And that's how these distinctions are so powerful. So that's the first thing, is learning them conceptually. And then the retraining becomes, or the breaking through becomes, and now the application of them. So you could do that for all the domains of your life. Let's say like your career, finances, your intimate relationship, your relationship with your family. You could start learning all these different distinctions and then starting to learn to apply them. And it really is also becomes valuable to have someone who speaks that language or that you could learn from. A lot of what I'm sharing with all of you is simply what I've learned from many books and teachers and mentors over the year. And I really owe them a huge debt of gratitude. And I think the Course, A Course in Miracles, is one of the most brilliantly put together set of distinctions that makes sense in that it uses maybe Christian terminology, things like Christ, God, but reinterprets that and deepens the distinction, gives us a whole different new way to look at it. That's been really powerful. The distinctions from a lot of the masters in India been very powerful for me. And then obviously the distinctions of being a transformational trainer and bringing them together has been really powerful. So what distinctions do you know and that you've been implementing? Maybe some other distinctions that have been challenging for you, that you need to deepen your understanding of it and the workability of it and how it applies in your life. Leave it in the chat below, and I look forward to continually sharing more and more, not just the distinctions of the Course in Miracles, but also the distinctions that I learned from India, that me as a trainer, and then bringing them and how they all can come together and similarities of that.